Hey, what's up guys? Welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is Jost, and today I'm going to give an introduction to pedal tones and discuss how they work, what they are, and how you can expand on them in your guitar playing while you're going through chords in a scale and singing. Alright, so the best way to introduce pedal tones is to go diatonically down in a major scale. We'll choose C because it's the easiest to work with. And as we do this, we'll hear how the pedal tone will function in each chord and work. Alright, so now to talk about how that C note or the pedal tone functions in each chord diatonically. So in the first chord, the C would be the root. Over the D minor chord, the C would be the flat 7. Over the third chord, E minor, the C would be a sharp 5. Over the F chord, the C would be a 5th. Over the G chord, the C would function as a 4th. Over the A chord, the C would function as the minor 3rd or the flat 3rd. And over the B diminished chord, the C would function as a flat 9. Alright, so let's try that with another note in the major scale. You can do this with any note in any major scale as you're playing diatonically. So let's try an A this time, the 6th from C. Oh. Now listen to how this works over the same progression. Alright, so the A note, if you notice, it sounded pretty stable as I went along because the 6th in a key has a resting function. It'll function in every chord, but it'll go down one number at a time as we progress. So for example, in the C, it's the 6. In the D minor, it's the 5. In the E minor, it's the 4. In the F, it's a 3. In the G, it's a 2. In the A, it's the 1 or the root. And then over the B diminished or the B minor 7 flat 5 chord, it's the flat 7. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 7, and then the 6. And it'll just keep going like that. What I'll demonstrate now is how some notes in the major scale do not have a resting function. They have more of a pulling function or a tendency to want to resolve. And this can give you the perception that some notes work better than others. So what I'll do is sing a B note, which is the 7th of the C. Say, and we'll work our way up. The B note has a tendency to want to pull back to the root. Alright, let's hear what that sounds like diatonically. I went through that one kind of quick because you can hear how it didn't really sound as good as the other one. So just be careful when you're going through some of these notes. Not all of them are always going to sound as pleasing as you would. So you have to use them sparingly and see how they fit within the chord. Alright, so let's talk about that B note a little deeper. Here's how it functions in each one of these chords and why it might sound better in some places than in others. Over the C, it's the 7th. Even though that has a dissonant sound, it's still pulling you in the direction of a C, which is the root of the chord. Hey. Over the D minor chord, the B functions as a 6, which has a cool sound to it. Oh. Over the E minor 7 chord, it sounds a lot more stable because it's the 5th, which is one of the main chord tones of that chord. Hey. Now you notice with the F chord, it brings up a different kind of viewpoint. However you decide to think about it, whether you like the sound or you don't. Hey, that's the B moving against the F chord, which is a flat 5. But if you kind of create the chord on your guitar, you can get some pretty neat sounds out of that. So that would be that F chord with the B ringing out in it. Alright, getting back into the progression, when you get to the G chord, the B is going to function as the 3rd, so that's going to also be very stable. That's a main chord tone in G major. Hey. And then we move up to A minor. the B is going to function as a ninth, which is a cool sound. Hey, you can hear how it's pulling in a different direction. It's not hey, it's not landing on something specific like as a root or a chord tone. And then when you move up to the B diminished, hey, the B is going to act as the root. Oh, so that should sound stable. And then we're back to the C chord. Hey, all right. So let's try experimenting with a different chord progression, still in the key of C, but we'll just make a couple substitutions just to spice it up a little bit. And we'll hold out the C note over the whole progression, and you can just start to hear how that C note will function differently over some of these different chord substitutions. By doing this, you can come up with a lot of really cool sounds while you're playing and singing. All right, let's try something else in a different key. And what we can try to connect is creating chords while you're singing a pedal tone, but always knowing where that note is in the chord as you make the chords as you go by. So let's say we're in the key of B minor and I want to keep the root note or the B in all of the chords. Well, let's start thinking about how you could do that. Just walk your way down. There's that chord from before. Again. Then try singing the B over that as you play. Fill that B up the other way. Let's go back to that B minor 7 chord. Okay, there's the B. Maybe we can do that next. We do that after that. About that one. Similar kind of walk up as we did the other way. Land on like an E major 7 chord. Then you could try singing over that one as well. Just hold out that note. And lastly, to expand on that further, what you can try to do is, as you're going up this progression, sing the pedal tone on the first chord, sing a riff on the second chord, a pedal on the next chord, and then a riff on the next chord after that, and just repeat that process. And what that can help you do is just kind of keep reference of what chords you're playing, get familiar and comfortable with the intervals in each chord, and connect them with what you're singing. Now let's try going backwards, descending, do the same thing. Alright, so to wrap up, today's lesson began with an introduction to pedal tones and how they function within a set of chords, what intervals they might be within that chord, how they have a tendency to either want to rest or to move or to want to resolve in a different direction. And by playing through them, you should be able to hear that function, whether the note wants to move or whether it wants to stay, whether you like the sound or you don't. And by doing this, it'll really help you develop a relationship between your guitar, your fretboard, and your mind when you're singing notes. You'll be able to see the relationship of that note that you're singing in every chord that you play, and it'll help develop your knowledge of whether that note is a root or a third, a fifth, a ninth, a seventh, etc. And by doing that, it'll really help you when you want to come up with licks or when you want to play new guitar parts. So I hope this video on pedal tones opened up some new ideas for you and some different sounds you can create while you sing and play. If you guys liked the video and found it helpful, please do me a favor and click subscribe. And if you have any questions, just leave me a comment. I'll be happy to get back to you. Thanks. I don't wanna be invisible.